Don't you miss the sweet slumbers you fell into as a child? Neend app helps you recreate that magic with well-crafted, exclusive sleep stories, guided meditations, and calming music to lull you into the restful sleep you need. Our offerings are all ad-free, approved by experts, and have helped more than 90% of our listeners fall asleep as quick as within 15 minutes after tuning into our app. Download the app for more sleeping aids and subscribe to the channel. Hi, I am Kshitij, and I'll take you on a narrative tale of two strangers who bond via running in this fiction comedy written by Uma Swaminathan. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable in your favorite position for falling asleep. Switch off all lights and close your eyes. Take a slow, full, deep breath and let go. It's time to set the world aside. Let go of your day and begin your gentle transition into sleep. Take another slow, full, deep breath and breathe out any tension in your body. All there is to do now is relax, rest, and be restored. You are in bed now, feeling your body relax from the day. Beginning with your feet, allow all the tension to go out of them now. They've worked hard for you all day and deserve a rest. And so, the relaxation in your feet begins to find its way into your ankles, your calves, and your knees. And now relax your upper legs, your hips, and feel this relaxation flowing up into your abdomen and lower back, and your upper back and chest. And feel this peaceful, relaxing feeling flowing down your arms, into your hands, and out your fingertips, and then into your neck, head, and face. Now your whole body is perfectly calm, relaxed, and ready for sleep. Soon you will be sound asleep, off on a peaceful journey into dreamland that will carry you all the way through until morning. So as you continue to listen to the story, begin to follow your breath. Relax your entire body and settle in for a wonderful sleep experience. Let's begin our journey. It's been 10 days since I started running. It has been 10 days since I have seen Dhanraj too. I am someone who runs away from any healthy physical activity. I cannot do it. Whenever I look in the mirror, I am hoping that six-pack abs will pop out of nowhere. But miracles never happen in real life. My doctor thinks otherwise. They were correct. It is a miracle that I have begun to run. The first day I started running, I am guessing I ran about 300 meters. Then I called it off because I felt like that was enough running for a day. Then my friend started telling me about all the good things that would happen if I tried to put any effort to it. So I have decided to give it a go. I am not an unfit guy. I look lanky, but I don't care about my body image. I understand why I have to do some physical activity. It is because I am doing a desk job. All I do is sit at a desk confined to a small space. As the days went by, I started noticing my body posture becoming abnormal. I walk around in a hunched posture. It is not good for my back. My friend joked, "You look like a Neanderthal walking around with a phone." I asked my friend for a solution. He told me to run. I thought that it sounded easy. It's much easier than lifting weights and doing 100 push-ups. So I have decided to give it a go. The second day was the same as the first day. The third, fourth, fifth, and ninth day were all the same. But today, I ran 500 meters and I can't run any further. Finally, I've made some progress. It's not the running or the distance that's hard. It's the waking up early and getting myself out of bed part that's hard. However, I don't have a choice. I want to be healthy. But the sun is already above my head when I wake up. I have never seen the sun rise in my life. So waking up this early and seeing all these people running is quite amusing. When you go to the same spot as I do, you always get to see the same people that come to the park. It's the most diverse variety of people you can see. You can see young men and women running with headphones on, hearing energetic songs. You can see old men and women who walk faster at a rhythmic pace with kind smiles on their faces. You can see a group of people doing yoga. You can see both young and old people doing breathing exercises. You can see obese people jogging with sweat-drenched t-shirts. You can also see tea vendors selling tea and coffee outside. Kids are playing around. People are sitting there reading newspapers. You can see people playing badminton. You spot Dhanaraj, a 55-year-old man who tries to walk with a crutch. He comes to the park almost every day. He jogs 2 laps around the entire park. Then he sits there on the park benches looking at people like I do. Today he finished his lap and sat next to me. "It looks like it's going to rain today," he said. I looked at him with a smile. "Well, I hope it does. I would rather be drenched in the rain than sweat," I said. He cackled and said, "You don't even have to run around to get drenched in sweat. The hot Chennai weather does it for us every day." It is true. Chennai's weather is almost always around 35 degrees Celsius. "Don't even get me started on the weather," I said. "It's the worst way to start a conversation, I know," he laughed. He's right. Most of the time, when you strike up a conversation, it's always, "How's the weather?" I do not like such questions, because my answer is always going to be, "It's bad." He then looked at me and said, "I've never seen you here before." I told him about my lack of physical activity and unhealthy food habits. "I always see you here," I told him. He then showed his legs. He was wearing a knee brace. He said that he had to because he had an accident and was going through a recovery process. I didn't want to pry, but I was curious about what happened. He looked old, and I assumed that he might have slipped down in his bathroom. But it was not the case. He participated in the recent marathon that happened. 12 kilometers? Are you serious? I shouted. Yes, I have completed around 8 kilometers. Then, because of what happened, I walked the rest of it after I fell. He smiled. I looked at him with shock and said, "I hope it was worth it." "Indeed it was," he assured me. I could not understand because I have imagined myself in my 50s sitting on a massage chair, eating my favorite foods and beverages. But I see this man who comes here every day and walks around. I asked him why. "I came here because I want to take part in the next marathon that's going to happen in a few months. I feel better day by day now, and in a few days, I will be good to go," Dhanraj said with determination. To add more to my shock, he told me, "You can sign up for it too. Anyone can participate. There is no age limit or gender or anything." I looked at him and said, "I can see that, but I have to think about it." "What's there to think about? It's fun. You are not going to do anything differently. You are going to do the same running you are doing here, but on a bigger scale," he insisted. I did not want to say no. He thinks that I take this as seriously as he does. I don't want to tell him that I am not who he thinks I am. I am just doing it for the sake of it. Also, what am I going to do joining a marathon? It's not like I am going to win it anyway. It's a complete waste of my time, I thought. Well, you see, I am more of a sprinter. I only take part in fast races because I fly like a feather. So I cannot do marathons. I can't run for 10 kilometers. I might just finish it in 10 minutes, I told him. Dhanraj looked at me and started laughing. He then stood up and started walking away. He did not stop laughing until the exit. I could still hear him laugh, even though he had walked pretty fast away from me. It was embarrassing. I looked around if anyone else had heard what we talked about. No one did. Then I grabbed my things and left for home. When I was a kid, I never participated in any sports at school. As a kid, we had to take part in sprint races. I remember participating in one of these races. It used to be a 100-meter race. My physical education teacher asked everyone in my class to be present for the PT class. There were about 40 students in our class. He divided us into 4 groups, each containing 10 kids. Then he picked one group and made them compete in the 100-meter race. The first 2 that reached first would be selected for the next round. So, a total of 8 kids who reached first had to take part in the next round of racing, from which he would select 2. This would happen to all the other classes of my age. So I participated in the first round of racing and I came 3rd. My school lost a sprinter because I had had a bad day. Every great athlete has their bad days. I couldn't handle it. So I stopped participating in such silly sports. Then I decided to try cricket. I used to play cricket with my younger cousins. I would always end up as the high scorer I played at my school too. They used to bowl what you can call in Tamil a halwa ball. Halwa ball means an easy and slow ball that can provoke a batsman to play a strike. When you hit a slow ball for a strike, the probability of it being caught is 99%. They used this trick whenever I picked up a bat. They would bowl me a halwa ball and end up picking my wicket. They call it the halwa ball because halwa is sweet and they bowl a bowl that is as easy and sweet as halwa. It was the lamest name I have ever heard. But you can see every street cricket player in Tamil Nadu using it. I also tried my hand at high jump. I could not jump higher, so I shifted to long jump. I couldn't jump any longer. What about basketball? Not tall enough. The only sport I liked playing in school was football. I chose football because nobody in my school liked to play football. So I was the only one who pretended to know how to play it by kicking the ball around the ground. Then my school hired some football coaches and picked some good football players. My friends were surprised to see me not make it on to the list. I tried every possible sport that had ever existed in my school. Nothing worked out for me. I modified my hobbies to include only indoor activities such as eating, watching TV, and listening to music. I didn't even want to try carom or chess because it didn't sound cool when I told my friends that I could play carom. It was too late for me to realize that if I had made any effort to learn or practice a sport I enjoyed and had fun while doing so, I might have made my school team. But what's the point of realizing it now? I realized that my body did not cooperate. I went to the park the next day. I started running. I ran 2 laps as usual. I went back to the bench to sit. Then I saw Dhanraj looking at me. So, to avoid any interaction with him, I started running another lap. I finished that lap and came back to see him sitting in the same place. I was embarrassed. So I ran another lap, hoping he would leave. I finished the lap and came back to the bench. He left. I was happy and also tired. I came to sit on my bench and was catching my breath. Then Dhanraj came with a newspaper and sat next to me. Now, I am a nice man. I couldn't walk away, so I smiled at him. He smiled back and said, "I saw you sprinting after seeing me." Then I asked him a question that I should not have. I asked, "What do you know about sprinting?" Because I assumed he was like me when he was young. He had no life as a sportsman. But I was wrong. He was an athlete. He dedicated his life to this sport. He used to run 100-meter races and had a record of 11 seconds when he was young. He got selected not only for his school team, but also for his district team and his division team. He also represented the Tamil Nadu team. Then he represented the national game. He participated in the Asian Games and won a silver medal. I didn't believe him. If he was so good, why had I never heard of him before? He must be bluffing, I thought. I even asked him that. For that, he didn't answer me, but asked me a question. Name 3 sprinters who represented India, he asked. Now, I am not stupid. I am familiar with athletes. I could answer this. Anju George, I responded. She did the long jump. I asked for sprinters, he said. I replied, P.T. Usha, Milkha Singh. I can't think of another name. I kept thinking, but I could not name another sprinter. Well, see, nobody cares. That's exactly why you don't know about me. If it was not for Bhag Milkha Bhag, you might not have heard of Milkha Singh either, he replied. He was right. I never knew who Milkha Singh was before that movie. But I would not have answered correctly even if he had asked me to name 3 prime ministers I was familiar with. I am so bad at remembering names. So I asked him, What's your point? He replied, Well, I choose not to be an athlete so that I could work for the Indian Railways. I chose it because it was fun. I liked it, and I trained very hard to be the best. Sport is not something you can do in the long term. When you choose it, you know you have to retire by 35. That's why many people choose central government jobs. But I still run because I can. And it takes me back to the days when I was sprinting so fast that the wind rushed onto my face. I have won medals. But it doesn't matter. I'm still working at a desk job which I don't like. Even if I didn't win the race, I would still have run. It's not about winning. It's about running. He finished a long monologue and looked at me. I always wanted to be a sportsman because it was cool. Everyone in school treated them well. You should either be ranked number 1 in class or do some sports to get appreciated by your teachers. When I was a kid, I spent all my life waiting for approval from my teachers, friends, and family. I didn't continue doing any physical exercises because I thought it was not for me. I was afraid of failure. Nobody taught me that failure is part of life and would lead to success. So, you love running. I get it, I joked. He stood up and replied, I used to. Now, I don't like it. My knee and ankle hurt. But it's worth it. He walked far from me, and I sat there watching him walk slowly. Then I yelled, Dhanraj. He turned back and looked at me, puzzled and wondering why I called his name. Dhanraj, the 3rd sprinter who represented India. I yelled again. He laughed and shouted, Join the marathon. You will love it. I was kind of considering joining the marathon because, as difficult as it sounds, I was going to try it. Because it's not about winning, it's about running. Only if you agree to train me every day, I replied. He waved his hand and shouted, Be careful what you wish for. I smiled and said, See you tomorrow then.